Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV. This is the instant match reaction as Liverpool have just beaten Cardiff 2-0 away at, I think it's the Cardiff City Stadium, I believe. That is 9 wins on the bounce. Jon Reid, this is Jon Reid. If none of you know this lovely man, is this the first time you've done
First time it's the match, yeah.
Well, you're in for a treat, everybody. But as I was saying, 9 wins on the bounce. We're doing exactly what we need to do, keeping winning the games, keeping the pressure on City. It's boss.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a vintage performance, was it? I think we can say that. Certainly seen us play more attacking football, more creative football, but it was the result we needed, really, wasn't it? Everything that's gone on in the last week and a half, it's all for nothing if we don't go beat Cardiff and these teams we should be beating. And we struggled a bit first half, but ultimately, I think the quality showed through, to be honest, really. And some would argue a bit lucky with the way some of the goals happened, but for me, I think ultimately it was the right result, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. So we'll go to the start. Team comes out. Gini over Fabinho, and a lot of people are saying, is this the game to bring Gomez back in? Do you rotate Matip? But he sticks with Matip. When Adam comes over Fabinho, what are your thoughts on the team?
It was the right team, I think. I mean, Gini's been one of the most consistent players this season, I think, and he's needed a break, and he's certainly needed some time away, I think, to kind of get his fitness back and not burn out. But this is exactly the type of game I think you'd have him in for. He's a safe pair of hands, and I can completely understand, given why Fabinho doesn't seem, to me, when we watch him, he's by 70 sometimes he can seem a bit gassed. I think that was the right move. The Gomez one I think was interesting. Obviously comes on later in the match, but especially with his cameo and stuff against Porto, you think maybe we might have got the nod, or even just a cameo at right back. I know when we were doing the build-up show, you were saying Ross was saying he might appear at right back, and I thought that would have been an interesting shout. But no, I had no problems with the team.
No, I completely agree, mate. I think we're at a point now where everyone knows all the players are boss. There's even like Naby Keita and Jordan Henderson, players that months in the past were sort of. They're not for this Liverpool team this season. We'll give them another season, see what happens to them. But I think Wijnaldum, you're right. I think he was tired the past few weeks, but bear in mind he plays all the international breaks. He's not like sort of Robertson and Trent where they sort of sit out because we need him so much. He plays them all. He clearly loves playing for the Netherlands, but he has needed a rest, and he looked rested. And I think. When the likes of Cardiff, Neil Warnock weren't going to come out and press you, were they? I don't think you needed Fabinho there, who's the guy that's the master of breaking up play when you're being pressed. He's a calm head, he can make excellent tackles. Gini absorbs pressure, he moves the ball well, and people forget he was phenomenal the first half of this season. He has looked tired, but I think it was the right call bringing him back in.
I think it was, and I think to me it's a confident team decision to kind of put that team out and go. Like you say, we don't necessarily need a lad who's going to break play up and kind of recycle it. We're just going to go. Here's three lads. Here's the front three. There's 3 lads in the midfield who would just go from at you and pressure, and that's you can argue, I suppose, that Klopp's got his lads and his lads are his lads at the minute, but it's a confident decision, I think, to come out and go, look, we know what we're about. We're going to attack you. We're going to pressure you. You're just going to put 4 lads in midfield, 4 lads behind them behind the ball, and we're just going to go at this, and at some point you're going to crack.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And I think the Gomez thing as well, it's just, I think we'll see Gomez. I think as we're now in the semi-finals to Barcelona and hopefully pushing on post the Premier League and looking to get again to our second final of the Champions League seasons in a row, I think Gomez could be really instrumental in that. I think personally we'll see him against Huddersfield at home. Huddersfield are a relegated team, and it's a safer bet to bring him in there if Klopp's plan is integrate Gomez before next season.
Do you think that's the only change he makes for Huddersfield, or do you think he makes more changes in terms of he rotates it a bit? Do you maybe see Shaqiri or something coming on?
Yeah, that's a strange one, because I think that game is a really important one in terms of sort of A, how we see Huddersfield, and B, sort of viable options for the rest of the season, because obviously Keita's come back in, Henderson's in a more advanced role. We've seen Lallana obviously, but he's injured. We've not seen much of Shaqiri, and I think that's a testament of, if we see him at Huddersfield, okay, he's still in contention, but if we don't, then I think it's a case of maybe he's just not the guy this season. Maybe he's just not learnt enough yet with the opportunities he's been given to sort of be a mainstay in and around this team. But who knows? Say Huddersfield's next week. We'll look at that then when it comes. But this game, the first half, I think we were in control. I think there was only one breakaway sprint that their winger made. He was absolutely rapid, to be fair to him. But we had a handful of chances. Just seemed to be putting everything over the bar. It wasn't for lack of trying. But did that make you frustrated, or were you quite calm?
A bit of both, really. I mean, you kind of want, I think with chances like that, they were great chances, and you kind of want the team to just kind of put the game to bed early, don't you? You know, we had 3 or 4 where you think we could be 2 or 3-0 up here type thing, and you know, and then you can start rotating the squad a bit, maybe bringing a Gomez on, those types of things, and just have it done. But there's also a kind of thing, it's weird that like I've kind of got, especially with that stat that Sky keep putting out saying how we keep scoring in the last 15 minutes of games and stuff. I've weirdly become this season in terms of like last season and the season before being a bag of rags if we hadn't at the end of the first half. And even to be honest, watching the game, you know, Tom as well, you know, we were also then he kind of said, you know, fucking hell, like, you know, and I can understand it, and that is frustrating, but at the same time I just think I've seen enough this season and this late into the season as well to know that we're going to come good whatever happens, I think. And ultimately that is what happened.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I don't think there's never really an air of sort of, we need to score here, sort of any of this stuff. Even against the top opposition, like with your likes of Spurs, you know, we can challenge, we can play our game, and it might not just be coming off, but you can see that there's clear opportunities. We're doing the right things, and it's just a case of this. One of these is going to fall, and for us, and it obviously inevitably does. But Gini Wijnaldum of all people, off of a corner, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I said sort of as it came on, I was like, that's a terrible cross. You know, we're so used to throwing him in back stick or sort of near post for a flick on, but Gini Wijnaldum comes into the gaping space that's left and absolutely rockets one.
It was a striker's finish, wasn't it? He full on side flushes it into the net. I loved it. And like the relief as well for him, I think you know, he's another player who, you know, I don't think the fans get on his back in the same way maybe some people get on Henderson's back, but you know, the millstone, you know, the stick you're going to beat Wijnaldum with is the kind of, you know, the goal scoring thing, especially, you know, coming from Newcastle, having scored, was it 11, 12 goals that season, and I think you could see like the relief for him was palpable, but also I think, you know, the relief from the team, you know, like you say, like, you know, a first half of squandered chances, and, you know, we were like, when was the goal, like 57 minutes in, something like that?
Yeah, literally 57.
Pre-match analysis. But you know, it was getting to that time in the game where you do start thinking like, fucking hell, like, is this going to come? Do we need to make some changes, that type of thing? So I think it was a great relief for him, I think, but also a great relief for the team, and an absolutely wonderful finish.
Absolutely, mate. And the big thing for me is sort of we touted sort of at the start of the season we're playing a more fullback game. You know, we lost with the loss of Oxlade-Chamberlain towards the end of last season, and this season we're crying out saying we need a 10. You know, Nabil Fekir sort of drama was continuing on and through the start of the season, saying we need a creative midfielder. That's why we're not scoring as many goals. That's why Salah's not off on his feet as much as he was. But I saw the point, and I've seen, and I was going to say we changed our games, utilised the fullbacks more. That became our system. But you're seeing now that goal scoring midfielders is what's coming up with the goods in the last sort of few weeks. You know, you've seen Keita get goals, Henderson get goals and assists. Now Gini Wijnaldum and James Milner get on the score sheet again, and it's such an important facet to have in terms of if it's not clicking up front, you need men behind the ball. Van Dijk's obviously scored 4 goals, 4 assists this season. He's still a guy that's getting goals. You need goal scorers all over the pitch that can pick up the pieces when it's not quite working for you front three.
Yeah, I think it's a confidence thing, and I think it's, you know, we were talking during the game of kind of, you know, like this competition strength and Robbo got going on in terms of the assists. I think you've seen a little bit of that, to be honest, with the midfield, especially with the kind of thing of Henderson moving forward, and it's made, you know, it's taken most of a season maybe for it to happen, for it to click, but, you know, I think you haven't seen the kind of what the added dimension Firmino's brought to the team, and Keita when he's been good, you know, the things that he's brought. I think some of the other lads have kind of, you know, it's brought their game on, which is what you want, but also it's brought them on in a kind of thing of, you know, like, okay, well, I don't have to just do all this busy work, you know, I can get forward, get into the area and stuff, and Milner's always had that in this game. I think Wijnaldum's always had it to a degree, but we haven't seen it obviously in a red shirt. And then, you know, obviously there's loads of stuff about Henderson moving position, but it's exactly what you want. And, you know, I think we're at that stage now as a team and as a club where a lot of teams now are doing the thing that they do to City, where they just go, look, we're just going to put 10 men behind the ball, and it means you can play more like that. It means you can have more lads moving forward and play with one lad in the middle of the park and 2 lads ahead of them, you know what I mean, who join the attack.
No, I completely agree, mate. I think you've hit the nail on the head there with terms of confident. Like, when nobody likes playing teams that know they're good. You know, there's been a lot of teams in the past, sort of like, you know, Arsenal, Spurs at points this season. You know, there's quality there, but you see that there's inconsistencies at the same time, whereas this Liverpool team, this Manchester City team, know that they're a team full of boss players. They've got a boss manager, they've got a boss style of football, and other teams respect it because they know that belief in themselves just strikes fear into the heart of your opponent. But as we see Fabinho come on, you know, so we're like, okay, we're 2-0 up, we're 1-0 up. well, let's try and shore it up a little bit. Keita had a good game, but he was sort of probably the least effective of the midfielders left on the pitch. You take Keita off, bring Fabinho on, and I don't think he was even on the pitch for a minute before he obviously has a terrible head injury, and he's replaced by James Milner. Now, obviously, there's no news that's come out yet about Fabinho. We're doing this whilst the post-match press conference is going on, but it looked more like sort of maybe a slight bit of concussion, and maybe just sort of take him off just to be safe. We don't need to take any risks.
Yeah, you hope it's not a long-term one or anything too serious. We saw the physio obviously doing the whole thing, like checking his vision and stuff.
Giving him one of them.
You hope it's a precautionary thing that they took him off just to be safe.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was recently, but someone came. I remember there was one a few months ago where one of the lad came back on and felt dizzy and fell over again. And you're thinking, you don't want to make it worse, do you? Especially for him first and foremost, but also when we have other options on the bench. So it's a shame really, because I think it's a game where we were in the ascendancy, and he could have come on and made a big difference. Not that he had to ultimately, but it would have been nice to see him. Hopefully he'll be fine for the rest of the game.
Yeah, of course. So hopefully we're doing the final word immediately after this. So potentially by the time we film that, there will be news. So make sure you go and check that out over on the redmentv.com straight after this show. It'll be going out tonight, so you got your instant final word reaction almost. But
anyway, back to the game. So
in a way, obviously, you said that it's good that we've got options when sort of you bring a big name player on the pitch like Fabinho, who sort of exactly what he's going to do, and that slow the game down, make it a lot more controlled. But replaced him with James Milner sort of turned out to be a really excellent substitution in the end. Obviously, because Mo Salah then, for the second goal, goes up the other end, wins a penalty. I've just first of all appeased Tom Dutton, who for some reason was confused as to whether this was a penalty or not. Jon Reid, was it a penalty?
It was very much a penalty.
Yeah.
He had him in a rock bottom about 4 blocks.
Yeah, he did.
Tweet Tom and ask him if it was a pen. It's that we all agree it was definitely a pen, but Tom wasn't sure.
Yeah,
so
he spent about
Tom know it was a pen.
He spent about 5 minutes of the story of the match that you'll probably see of just going, I think that's. I mean, he's got to stay up there. And we're all just looking at him like, Tom,
fuck off.
Yeah, you're doing yourself no favours here. But as I was saying, James Milner, we were saying if Milner's not on the pitch, who takes it, and it's Mo Salah. But Mo Salah's a good penalty taker, but he's not James Milner. So he's not missed a penalty this Premier League season. I can't even remember the last time he missed a penalty for Liverpool, and puts away an absolutely fantastic penalty. Keeper's bottom left, puts us 2-0 up, and sort of at that point, it was the 81st minute. You're like, that's what we needed.
It was perfect, and the celebration topped it for me.
Excellent.
Absolute scenes in the end.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's not a lot you can say about Milner. I don't think he's the consummate professional, isn't he? He's the steady hand. He's the kind of that figure that you need in the squad and want in any football squad. I think who can come on and make things safe and just knows what he's doing. But I thought, given the way he came on, especially as well with the injury, he came on as a safe pair of hands. He did everything he needed to do, and actually weirdly got involved in the attack and play a lot more than I thought he might have. I thought he'd come on and just kind of sit and just kind of break things up, but he actually got involved in the attack and play. And like you say, to come on and take a pen like that, and he's added so much to the team over the last 2 or 3 seasons, either in terms of assists in the Champions League last year on the way there, or in terms of his penalty taking and stuff. He's still, I think, a vital cog of the team, and that adds something that we don't have in some of the other players.
No, I completely agree, mate. And it's one of those where when you list a team that's brilliant, or could go on to win things, you go through it and you got your likes of your front three, Van Dijk, Fabinho, Alisson, all these players that will be touted as sort of like, this is the reason why Liverpool are where they are. But you need players like James Milner, the unsung heroes that don't get any of the plaudits, don't really get any of the media attention, but are there every time you need them, putting the shift in and putting appearances in that are really important goals. Like you say, goals, assists. Just Milner as an individual is just a very class act. And like I say, there's sort of, if Leeds come up this next season, there's sort of murmurings that maybe he'll go and finish his career at Leeds, and it'll be really hard to see him go because he's been an excellent servant at Liverpool.
He'd be brilliant for them, I think, if they did come up in that. He'd add the right type of experience, wouldn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so for a newly promoted team that just needs a bit of Premier League,
and especially like he took I don't know who the captain is at Leeds, but if he's got the captaincy say or something in that look, but he definitely have that kind of thing. I really don't want to see him go.
No, I agree.
I think I don't think there's many questions now around him being the best free transfer I think we've ever had. And,
absolutely.
I'd love to see the club give him a new deal and maybe do another couple of years or however long he thinks he's got left, to be honest, at the top level.
Yeah,
he goes,
and it was personified by his celebration, wasn't it? It gives it, I'm sure you've all seen it, where he gives it sort of the achy back walking stick, saying to everyone sort of like, They call him old, they call him the old man of this football club. But like I was saying earlier,
his thing, by the way, just as a complete aside, that his role reversal on that boring James Milner thing is just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Like who knew he was literally like one of the funniest, soundest men in football.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's still boss at football at the age that he's at.
Hello, he's just absolutely just ace in life, isn't he?
Yeah, and he just typifies sort of this group of lads that we've got at the football club, and it's like, you're right, I don't want to lose any of these characters. I can't wait for Ox to come back in because I absolutely love him on and off the pitch, and James Milner's very much one of those characters that's just, he personifies exactly what it is to be a Liverpool Football Club player.
One of the things I love actually at the minute as well, just to touch on like you're saying there, is we joked about it during the game, but kind of like the reactions to some of the goals lately, I think show, you can argue it's the title running thing, I think, but it shows that just how much it means to them, but also how much that they're enjoying the football, and the fact that they're celebrating as a squad and stuff. It's not just Mo scored, everyone give him a high five. It's like when Alden gets a goal, everyone's made up for him. Henderson the other week. We've had a few recently where we've had kind of like lads who haven't really chipped in much this season, but are now starting to do a few goals. And I just think that's great, because I just think the manager says a lot about kind of the culture around the squad and the culture around the club, and the fact that we're calm and stuff, and you can see how he is on the touchline, and see Guardiola how he is on the touchline, absolutely ripping what little hair he has left out. But you don't see that in our players, and I think that's brilliant that they clearly have bought into what he's saying, and they very much, it's not just a show thing, they really do enjoy playing football with each other and being in each other's company.
No, absolutely, and it's that whole, like, it's from the manager to the starting 11 to the bench to even sort of transfer committee to chairman, all of like just this. In my lifetime, I'm only 21, so I've got a much smaller sort of lifespan of knowing Liverpool Football Club more than you, sort of Chris and Paul and the likes of that. But even in my lifetime,
I'm not that old.
You've got a few years on me. But it's a case of like, it's always been, your Alonso's, your Gerrards, your Suarez's, your Torres's. It's always been a handful of names amongst teams that are average. You're in an era of Liverpool where there's a few shining lights in sort of what is overall sort of quite a poor sort of setup at the football club. But this feels like everything's bang on. Like I wouldn't change one thing about the way the football club's run. Sort of. So, and like I say it every time. We're just so lucky to have this now.
No, it is. This is the best Liverpool team I've ever seen play football, and again, but what's really reassuring for me isn't just me saying that. It's people again who were older than me saying that, who lived through all kind of
through the 90s, the 80s,
the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and saw all kind of the teams we speak of in legend type thing. But it can do a bit of everything, I think, which is the thing I love. And I've spoke on other shows in the past at length about why I love Rafa's 08-09 team and stuff, and what I liked about them was it was like such a well-oiled machine, but it played one style of football pretty much. And like you say, it had a group of lads who were brilliant, and just a kind of,
and they dragged sort of the rest of them up.
Dragged the rest of them up. Whereas this isn't that. We obviously I've got some world-class players in this team, but everyone plays a role, and everyone, like you say, everyone's a vital component to what we're doing, and it's not just a team that can just play one way. It's a team that can smother you and attack you, but it's a team that's, we've got the best defensive record in the league. Most clean sheets, one of the best at set pieces and stuff. We can do a bit of everything and mix it with a bit of everybody, and that's overall, I suppose, bringing it back to Cardiff is for me was one of the more interesting things about this game. I've seen so many different sides to this Liverpool team throughout the course of the season, and this again was a different test, and on the back of the City Spurs thing, knowing that going into it again, I suppose that anybody could have been deflated going in, and we could have let that get to us. And in the past we have, I'm sure if I don't know how much you were watching the 13-14 season, but I was kind of every game, and it did get in our heads a bit, I think, and this hasn't, which I'm glad. It's become so much. We've matured in such a good way, I think.
Yeah, like you say, even when you've got so many key players in the team like Trent, who are 20 years old, and they still know and understand how to keep a cool head in situations like this. It just speaks volumes to not only this season but the future of this football club for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So, but of course, it's this season specifically. It comes down to Manchester City. It comes down to will they drop points at some point in the season? It's back over to them on Wednesday against Manchester United. Just quickly, how do you think that's going to go? Is it a case of United have been that poor, they need to bounce back in a game against Manchester City? Because it would be the most United thing to be shite and then come back and beat City and do us a favour. Or do you think it's ropes for them this season?
I think it might be barely. I really want to believe that that United team can do well, and they seem a bit like, rabbit in the headlights, a bit like playing Barca. They seemed a bit shell shocked, like Van Elwick, we haven't come up against this, and the same with Everton, really, that. It's that back line. I just don't, and I don't know what it is with De Gea. What's happened to him in the last 2 or 3 weeks? He just seems to be making a few
just down tools a bit, hasn't he?
Down tools, yeah. But I don't know. It might be. Never thought it'd be relying on Sean Dyche to help us win a league title, but there we are.
But yeah, like I say, every cloud though. If it comes to a point where you're relying on a Brendan Rodgers' Leicester and a Sean Dyche's Burnley over a Manchester United team, then it just shows the levels that we've superseded that football club.
There'd be something very poetic in Burnley toppling City, and also after 13-14 Rodgers helping us win the league.
Yeah.
Both of those, I'm up for both of them. Can we make that happen?
Yeah, come on. That's got to happen. But all we can do is keep on winning these games. Another 2-0 win today, pretty convincing in the end. But like I say, that's all it can be. Huddersfield next, but we've got all of the post-match stuff from this game coming out. So final word, our man of the match show will be coming out tonight, and we're building up to Huddersfield starting on Monday. So thank you very much, John. It was lovely. It was a pleasure. Make sure you like, subscribe to Redmen TV. Jump over to redmentv.com because we will be filming the final word very, very soon, and it will be out within the next couple of hours. So yeah, make sure you check that out. We'll see you later.